They can never imagine your product name is called Video Eye or Virtual Eye or World Eye or Crystal Eye. They will never remember, I guarantee. They will imagine you either will be Video Eye or Crystal Eye because you usually put your product in the beginning or at the end. You never put your product in the middle anyway. But if you do not use color to highlight, they have to imagine whether you are here or there. So if you highlight, there is no mistake. So the other three must be your competition. Number one. Number two, now, ex-factory. Ex-factory meaning your product going out from the factory floor. Okay. If you grow rice, okay, your rice, you put it in a sack, in a big sack and put it on a truck and ship. How much it will cost for that sack of rice, or half kilo, or 50 kilo, or now the maximum that you can buy is only 8 kilos, right? Now, the importance of putting a gross profit as a comparison to others. Now, your competitors, you probably will not know their gross profit, except if you worked there before. Right? Now, the reason why, as an investor, like to know your gross margin or gross profit in percentage is that because your product is new, your competitors has been around for some time. So there is a way for your competitors to match your product if your product is better by lowering the price. So if your gross profit is, say, something like 15% or 12%, as an investor, I won't be interested because when competitors drop the price, you have no margin. I mean, you have no room to respond. Okay. And then you also compare the features. Okay. But of course, your product got to have either feature advantage or price advantage. Otherwise, you don't have a chance. For social enterprise, probably you can have some other elements like an emotional approach. So if it's a social enterprise where you're competing with other commercial enterprises, so you have the social appeal or this ethical appeal that you can have some advantage. But don't bet too much on that. Forecast, Minko's also talk about in your business plan, you have a forecast. So on the revenue, on your cost of goods sold, gross profit, expenses, and net profit, probably for the next 5 years. Okay. So all product lines, sales channel as a big market share, and again, these are very 4 important words: think big and be bold, meaning the size of the market and your market share. So you have a simple chart, revenue, cost of, now COGS, for those in the business faculty, cost of goods sold, or the gross profit, other expenses, net profit or net loss, market share. 5 years. Now, your key management team, Minko's also talk about in the business plan, you show people your team, so on and so forth. But as students, even though you are still thinking about the real thing as a social enterprise, really, get $100,000, $50 from you and say, and another $50 from social enterprise challenge. You're still for real. So your CEO, your CTO, marketing and sales manager. Now we are talking about this sample is for technology business, really asking for a few $1 million. But in your case, it's about the same. Tell people the name of the university, your degree, and your year of graduation. Name of your previous employer. Now, some of you understand this 24 teams. Some of them are MBA students. So as an MBA student, I think one of the qualifications for being an MBA student, you have to work for 5 years or so. So you must have a previous employer, your title, and your year. Now, in case you still do not have your dream team, then with the money, who are you going to recruit? Okay. For example, totally business person, 5 technical person. The CEO is KK Fong. Education, the year, the degree, and the university. Now, please don't be shy which university that you come from. Sometimes I look at some businessmen, they say, okay, from a university in the USA. What is the problem for telling people that you are from MIT or from Stanford or from a university that people probably have not heard of? What is the problem? Even though it is what we call a 野雞大學. So what? I'm selling myself. I come from a simple and unknown university, but you're looking at a future entrepreneur or current entrepreneur. Okay, I'm selling myself. Okay. Even if you have not graduated, it's okay. Richard Lee never graduated, right? It's okay, but he's Richard Lee. Your experience, what you have done. Now, in the organization chart, when it is a simple one, you don't have a lot of people, then you can draw a very simple organization chart if it is less than 10 people. If it is more than that, you probably only show 2 layers, otherwise it will be too clustered. For example, this one, you only show 1, 2, and 3. All these, you just put a number. Okay. Now, in our situation, in the pitching for a few million Hong Kong or US dollars, maybe slightly different from a social enterprise. Now, anyway, you have, I mean, the thing that I'm talking about, you can keep it for real life. In the future, a few years later on, bidding for a few $1 million, it will still be the same. Show the ownership of all partners, complete with name and relationship, whether that is your husband, wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend. Now, boyfriend, girlfriend, you don't have to mention. Whether it is one of them is your father, one of them is your uncle, then probably, now you don't mention it here, but in the due diligence later on, when people sit down and talk to you, you probably have to mention, you know, Judy Wong, you know, she's my wife, or Nancy Wong, she's my mother. Then you talk separately. Now, if you have a first angel round or VC round, then tell people. As a startup, I've Bill Gates, Richard Lee, invested into my company for my first 50,000 Hong Kong dollars. Right? So this is a good reference. I've Blackstone invested, I've Warden as a VC invested in my company. So this gives some special recognition. Now, even though, now, as a social enterprise, as a student competition, for this purpose, I mean, Mingos talk about that, I still recommend that if it is possible, go to talk to your university professor, go to talk to your dean of engineering or head of the business faculty, whether he or she will be interested to be your advisor. Okay, get a few names there. I mean, you presented your company structure, your organization chart, and then you can also have another one. For a bigger company, sometimes they can call non-executive director, but for non-executive director, then you have to pay them. But for company special advisor, you probably don't have to pay them. Now, if you can enlist your professor who is leading your project, or the dean of engineering, or the vice chancellor, you know, to be your special advisor, then you put a few names. Okay, you say that you can convince Mingos to be your advisor, or you can convince Professor Kevin Au to be your advisor. You put a name there. Now, then this will add a lot to your business case, because in case there's any issue, I can talk to somebody, the professor, you know, somebody, I can talk to Richard Lee, you know, I have his phone number. Now, this will add something. This is how we talk about in the presentation, in the preparation, and on a psychological basis, how you differentiate yourself to the other 23 teams.